ushindi kwa ukombozi wetu. Tujitoe wenyewe, tusimame pamoja kulinda uhuru na umoja wetu. Enyi bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote, tuimbe pamoja, kuenzi shikamano hatima yetu. Tujitoe wenyewe kupambana pamoja, uhuru na umoja vitawale. Enyi bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima. Tuungane sote na tujibidishe kutoa kilicho bora kwa Afrika. Chimbuko la wanadamu, chemchemi ya utamaduni, tumaini letu wakati wa mafarakano. Enyi bwana na binti wa Afrika, mwili wa jua, mwili wa anga, tuifanye Afrika mti wa uzima.
Let us make Africa the tree of life. Let us make Africa the tree of life. This is Kato Mukasa for Humanist TV Africa. Humanist TV Africa is a registered non-government organization working in different countries in the world. We have studios in Uganda, we have studios in Kenya, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, USA, and of course UK. We are operating as a registered non-government organization. This is Humanist TV Africa. I want to encourage you to please subscribe to our handle. Our channel is Humanist TV Africa. The line is right there. It is Humanist TV Africa. But of course, I want to encourage you to please send us an email. Our email is info@humanisttvafrica.com. Our email is info@humanisttvafrica.com. Our WhatsApp number is right there. Our information officer, Brian Kabeko, will be able to give you feedback. We are interested to open up studios in your country, wherever you are. You are in Europe, you are in the US, you are in Asia. We want to open up offices right there you are. Our office can be right where you stay. And we want to be doing news roundup in your country. We want to be able to connect your country to the rest of the world. Remember to contact us through that email. Now, today we are discussing humanist parenting. Today we are discussing humanist parenting. We are humanists. This is called Humanist TV Africa. We are humanists. And we want to talk about humanist parenting. This is episode 2. This is episode 2. In episode 1, I gave you a foundation to parenting. In episode 2, I continue with that foundation, and I'll tell you that I discussed this as a parent of children who are above 18 and of children who are below 18. So with that experience, it's the experience I want to use to share with you. Given my experience, given my shortfalls, I don't want young parents to have the same challenges I have had. I want them to have a better experience with their children. Now, the program is called Humanist Parenting. If you don't know what humanists are individuals that follow the Ubuntu principle. I'll make it easier for you. If you know Ubuntu, That is humanism. You are because I am. I am, therefore you are. That is the Ubuntu. Humanism is African, like other philosophies, because all of us technically are, biologically are from Africa, are Africans. Now, the Africans had a philosophy called Ubuntu, where you have to treat others the way they should treat you. You treat others fairly, with compassion, with love, with commitment, with justice, with equity, with the goodness. Sometimes we tell you to treat others, don't even think about what they are going to give you. You simply treat them the way they want to be treated. Humanism teaches us to treat other people the way they want to be treated. Now, if we are parents, how do we put these values into our children? Selflessness, justice, social justice, fairness, equity, love, compassion, empathy, commitment, dedication, hard work. How do we put this into our children? Now, these are our children. These are our children, basically. But how do we help them learn to love one another, learn to be less greedy, learn to help one another, learn to work as a team, not as competitors? As we see them on the screen, this is how it is. And this is how we want to continue inculcating these skills in young children. Now, let us have a look at more images. More images. Now, these are children in Africa. In one of the photos are my children with my mother. Do you send your children to go and visit your parents if they are still there? Do you send your children to go and visit your relatives, or you keep them with you? Now, my children, basically, I send them to meet my mother, meet my relatives. They know almost all my relatives, all my close relatives, all my siblings, because we're a family. Now, do you keep your children within a family, or you keep them to yourself? Now, I'm challenging you. In that photo is my mother and my daughters. And I send them to my mother's home, which is my home. It's a lovely home. Everything is there at my home. So why don't they go there? Now, if you have no excuses, even if you had excuses, better make your home better. Send your children to your home. Your parents should also be able to be with their children. Let the children know how you grew up. Let your children know where you grew up from, the circumstances in which you grew up from. Let them know your background. Expose them to your home. Be with your children. Work with them. Let the children play. Let children be children. In the other photo, you can see children are playing in the rain. Yes, for us in Africa, it's fine. We are not timid. We are not weaklings. Children can play in the rain. Why not? We are allowed to play. Play, 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 and play. Not pray, but play. Go outside and make games, make fun. Look at these children. Of course, in the middle are my daughters and other children. As you can see, some of them are Arabic children right there in their traditional regalia. The other children are getting instructions from a father. Now, all this one shows you that when you keep your children together, keep them happy, they are able to share with you their secrets, their problems, their troubles. Keep the children closer to you. We are talking about humanist parenting. That is the topic today. How do you keep your children together, and how do you keep your children with your family? How do you create a close-knit family? I told you I will send my children to my mother because, of course, my father is dead, but I keep them in touch with my mother, and all my children know my siblings. They know their uncles, they know their aunties, because we are one close family. Now, I challenge you, if you have your troubles with your family, it's not within mine. And I'm telling you, it's important to keep the children within the family. Let them know their uncles. Let them know their nephews, their cousins. Let them meet them and socialize with them. Let them grow up knowing they have relatives that care for them, that they should care for them, that they have an environment to protect. Let us see more images about parenting. Parenting. Now, parenting comes with responsibilities. I'm telling you, when I was young, my grandfather made me to dig Much of his farms, we were the one digging it. Now, these children are learning how to dig, how to make food. Africa depends on agriculture much of the time. That's why unemployment doesn't hit Africans so hard, because we have our soils, fertile soils, and we can grow our own food. If the people have food, they can survive. Now, why don't you teach your children how to be farmers? Why don't you teach your children to forget about loving office work alone? Office work can be good when you have a garden. Remember, my grandfather used to tell me, a real man, before you get a woman, you must have a garden. A real man is defined by the size of his garden. Now, this is the same philosophy I'm teaching children that have been able to access, that we must be able to dig our food, farm our food, take care of our land, till our land, produce our food. In that photo, you see children are learning how to be responsible. Take your children back in the villages. If you are lucky to have one, because some people don't actually have villages, they are born in the city, they have no land. But for those of you who have land, my message to you is simple. Take your children back home, teach them the hard work, not only the soft work of the city. Let them know how you grew up. Let them know how you struggled. Let them know how food is made. Let's see more other images, please. Very fast this time. Now, kids who grew up feeling lonely may become adults who, remember I told you, avoid making your children look miserable, feel lonely. Now, if a child grew up feeling lonely, he becomes an adult who does the following one: an adult who seek love where it's not available. You have seen them committing suicide. They are seeking love from everyone. People will not love you if you don't love yourself. Number two, they isolate themselves when things go wrong. You have seen them. They always go and isolate themselves. Why? Because they are badly brought up. You are brought up as loners, as a lonely child. Make your child go and meet others. Number three, people who grew up as loners are always there for others but feel invisible. They feel invisible. They think no one is caring about them. They feel no one is seeing them. They feel lonely even when they are with others because you made your child grow lonely. The other thing which people have that grow lonely always blame themselves when people hurt them. Whenever someone hurts them, they blame themselves. They blame themselves. They will never think logical about issues. They'll never think logical about it. They are always self-blaming and self-harming. Lastly, they feel deep emptiness and loneliness inside. Inside they are hollow, they are shallow. Why? Your children are kept in a house. Your children are kept to you. Send them to your relatives. Send them to your parents if you still have them. Let them meet other children from other societies, from other communities. They are going to grow up as holistic children. Children that are well versed with the world. They know different cultures, different races. If you're Caucasian, send them to an African community. Let them know how Africans live. Let them interact with other people of different backgrounds. If you are rich, let them associate with the poor and they know how the poor survive. Let your children mingle with other classes. This is the message I'm giving you today in Humanist Parenting. Let us see another kind of information, Brian. Now, look at this. The problem with indoctrinating children now, they are making you teach your children religion instead of using technology. Mother Teresa there, as an example. You teach your children the religion, brainwash them instead of teaching them technology. Now, raising children without religion may be a better alternative. Research now is showing that if you raise your children without religion, make them think for themselves. Do not tell your children what to think. Look at the other image on my right hand side. Children in Asia are practical. They are making toys, they are making computers, they are making games. Children in Africa are being taught how to pray to Jesus and Muhammad. What a shame. Children in Africa are being brainwashed to think that a Caucasian up there on the cross died for them, which is actually a lie. Jesus never died for anyone because perhaps never existed. Now, they are teaching your children to be a people who cannot think logically by giving them so many stupid philosophies. Yet in China, yet in Malaysia, yet in Singapore, and other countries that are thinking ahead, children are being taught to think creatively. In Africa, they are being taken to Bible school. They are being taken to madrasa Islamic schools, where they are being indoctrinated to hate other people because of their religions. They're being taught that jihad is the way to go. Allah loves you. Go and kill other people. This is how these madrasas are teaching children to kill others for Allah. Yet, in responsible countries, children are taught how to be productive, how to empower themselves, how to help society go ahead. Let us see another image. Please, let us see another image of this. Now, look at this. As a result of that, church members are struggling to get what to eat when they become adults, and their children are suffering. And yet, the church owners, people own churches in Africa as a business. They are eating well, they're driving the best cars, they have the best pieces of land in town. And you are teaching your children to continue donating to church. Your children spend so much time in the church, in the mosque, wasting time there to contribute to other people's well-being, yet you are miserable. Teach your children from childhood to be responsible for their own lives. Let them work. Let them think for themselves. Your pastor is using you to solve his problems and achieve his dreams, while he tells you to pray. Go ahead with other images. We are running short of time. Now, your money is the God of your pastor, not what he preaches. Exactly. Your pastor wants money. Therefore, your money becomes the God to your pastor. Teach your children to think. In holidays, let them work. If they can do some light work. Remember, the law says if a child is below 14 years, they can do light work. If a child is 16 years, they can do some bit of work. The law accepts a child who is 16 years to do some bit of light work. Now, teach them not to hold these posters, okay, where they are going to be preaching. You are teaching your children to become pastors. Pastors are selling what? Pastors are selling air, empty air, lies. Teach your children to become doctors, to become engineers, to become scientists, to become IT, computer specialists. Teach them practical skills. Do not teach your children to become pastors. Africa is breeding pastors. Teach your children to learn practical scientific skills, because that's what the world wants. The world does not want pastors. Pastors have destroyed the world. The world needs more engineers, more doctors, more IT specialists, more agronomics. People can turn our soils into much more productivity. Teach them about these so-called religious doctrines and break them down one by one. The Lord is not my shepherd, for I'm not a sheep. Teach it to a child. The Lord is not my shepherd, because I'm not a sheep. Once a child gets that in their head, she's going to say, I'm not a sheep. Therefore, I cannot have a shepherd. Teach them that religion will sell you an invisible product, which is heaven, and collect your visible product, which is money. Teach your children to be wise by simply quoting them such kind of thing. I'm not a sheep, therefore I don't need a shepherd. The word of God is the word of man. Teach it to your children. Religion says a woman came from a man. Tell them no. A woman produces the children. Children come from the belly of a woman, not the other way around. The Bible was wrong to say that a woman came from a man. Tell them that is a wrong scientific theory. It's a pseudoscience. It's a wrong science. Teach your children to think that a baby is made between a woman and a man, that a baby is put inside the tummy of a woman, that a baby cannot come out of a man's rib. Teach them that the word of God is not the word in the Bible. The Bible has a word of man. Teach them to think. Today's talk is help your children to think through religion. What does religion mean? It is from a Latin verb regal, which means to tie back, to hold back, to thwart from forward progress, and to bind. Religion is a system of control based in unchallenged dogmatic belief, which holds back the progress of consciousness. Teach that to your children. If they ask you, Daddy, Mommy, Uncle, what does religion mean? Teach them that religion is a Latin verb, regal, which means to tie back, to hold back, to thwart from forward progress, to bind. Something that controls you and stops you from moving forward, from thinking for yourself, from being dogmatic is religion. Tell them religion is not for you in this century. You must use your brains and ask and question everything. Lastly, teach them things like this in a joking way. You are promoting critical thinking, you are promoting logic deduction. Tell them that religion will sell you an invisible product called heaven and they will take your money. Tell them that according to religious people, they are all powerful God that can do all things has an enemy called Satan, but that God will never defeat Satan. Ask them, are you sure there is Satan? How powerful is this Satan? How come that God has failed to defeat Satan? Why can't God defeat Satan? Give them this scenario. The snake that brought sin into the world through Adam and Eve was taken into the ark. When they said Noah built an ark, he even took the snake inside and saved it from the flood. Yet God said the snake was the bad animal, was the bad creature that made Eve sin. So why was God sparing something bad? Does God want evil? Does God want Satan? Let your children answer those questions. Trust me, you'll be surprised by the way they become top thinkers with time because you'll be tickling their minds, their brains, begin asking the important questions. Daddy, is it true there's heaven? That is it true that the snake was talking at one point? That is it true that there was an ark, there were floods? Let them ask the questions. Allow them to ask the questions. With the time, you're going to have children that can ask questions that are hard, children that can challenge you, that can challenge society, that can challenge dogmatic beliefs. This has been Massive Africa, and of course, we are concluding this show very, very fast. Nothing on Earth was produced with prayers, and of course, prayers, fasting, not even a Bible. And you think that prayer is the key. Prayer is not the key, because practically nothing in the world has ever been produced by prayer. That you simply pray and it happens. It never happens like that. You must go ahead and work. You must put everything in action. Remember, where do we come from? Let us go back to that image where I come from. We come from atoms. Children are going to ask you, Daddy, where do you come from? Tell them we come from atoms. Atoms make matter. Matter and energy combine, and then we have organisms, and these organisms later on turn into creatures which over the years go on changing from one shape to another until when we have a human being. Tell them the history of humanity, the scientific history of humanity, the theory of evolution. Then, 10 attributes of a woke mind. Teach your children to be woke. How do you teach your children to be woke? To be awake, to be aware. Number one, you read books and don't burn them. Teach them to read books and spare books, keep books. Number two, you embrace science. Teach them to embrace science. Number three, you are willing to change your mind when new information becomes available. Teach them to always change their mind. Tell them to say, today and think yesterday I was wrong. My mind is changed. Tell them to always be able to change their mind. Don't be stuck. Number four, you understand that most issues are not black and white. And that's it. The world is not black and white. People are not black and white. It's wrong. People are not black and white. In fact, there is no white person. I should repeat this. There is no white person. Even in black itself is relative. So the world is not black and white. Teach them that. That therefore things are relative, that things can be changed, that there are so many lies in the world. They're going to tell their white people who are not there in the first place. Even blackness changes shapes and colors. Now tell them that everything doesn't seem the way it is. Therefore, they must question stuff. Now, you believe in true equality for all people. You have empathy. Teach them empathy. Teach what you to be empathetic. You embrace cooperation. You respect others' rights. You believe culture and the arts have value. Culture and the art. Teach them to love their culture, especially progressive culture. Teach them to avoid bad culture practices, but also keep good cultural practices like Ubuntu cultural practices. Finally, that is it for today. And this is Humanist TV Africa. Thank you so much for watching. I was taking you through, as a humanist parent, what can you do to create critical thinking minds in young people? Allow them to read the Bible. Allow them to read the Quran. Allow them to understand what religion offers. Then ask them questions. Then introduce them to critical thinking. Make them logical. Make them arrive to their own conclusions. Don't stop them from going to church. They can't go to church. When they come back, sit them down and ask them, what did the preacher say? The preacher said ABCD. Ask them, is that true? Be like a Sheldon. You can have many Sheldons from within your family. Allow them to attend these churches, to attend these meetings, because they're in the society. But when they come back, don't allow them to have those ideologies stuck. Challenge them to think through those ideologies. This is Humanist Parenting, episode 2. We shall be back with episode 3. Thank you so much. See you in the next one.